Hey everybody, what is going on? This is Orby3NWO bringing you another Call of Duty gameplay, and today we are going to be talking about the trailer that got leaked for the new Call of Duty coming out in November of this year, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. This one's going to be done by Sledgehammer. This is their first time to be doing it by themselves. They worked on one, I believe it was Black Ops 2? It might have been Black Ops 1. One of those two. One was Raven, the other one was Sledgehammer, where they worked with Treyarch, but now they're going to be working on their own. So we've got three separate companies making Call of Duties now. But that's not really what we're going to talk about. We're talking about the trailer that got leaked early. Was actually supposed to come out today, would be the 4th, but got leaked early. So I'm not going to play the trailer in this video. You guys know where to find it. You can go and look and find that yourself on YouTube. And watch the trailer by itself. This is just going to be me talking about my points and the things that I thought were cool in the trailer. The very first thing that you see, and Activision is very good on their Call of Duty trailers about putting the important things right in front of your face. And the very first thing that you see, as soon as it fades away from black, is this mech suit type thing that you're going to get in the new Call of Duty. Everything that we saw in the trailer is basically single player clips. There's a couple little live action single player things. Most of it is going to be cutscenes from the single player, but the stuff that they add in the single player is usually added in the multiplayer as well, maybe just in a different form or fashion. So this is something we're going to get. We're going to have this kind of like exoskeleton type suit that we get to wear. And there's different versions of them. If you watch very closely through the trailer, the first one that we see, it looks like it makes you, it's not clunky, and it doesn't look like, I've heard a lot of people already talking about how this looks like a ripoff from Titanfall, but it's not clunky like that. It's not a huge monstrous suit. It's really just a small exoskeleton. It doesn't look like it's any extra armor, but it does look like it's going to give you extra strength. We see people throwing guys across a bridge. We can definitely jump higher and further. I saw people jumping from car to car during a race, landing really hard in the middle of a highway from like the top part of the bridge that goes over the top. All of that. So it's going to give us all of that type of stuff. You can't really tell. I would really doubt that there's going to be wall running in this game. I think that would be awesome. I wish they would add it because it was really fun in Titanfall. But I didn't see any of that in this trailer, and I really, really doubt that they're going to go that far and put that in this game. But the suit does look like we might be able to get the equivalent of like a double jump in Call of Duty, which will be cool to see, and to see if they add that to the multiplayer as well. That's the first thing that we see in the trailer, is this guy walking away in this kind of small exoskeleton mech suit. The next thing that you see is Kevin Spacey being awesome, just like he always is, and that is, he's one of my favorite actors, especially if you haven't watched House of Cards and you're old enough to, then go watch it, because he's awesome. Or The Usual Suspects, that's another good one. Pretty much anything he makes is really, really good. He's apparently going to be our main villain in this next game. And if you watched any of the stuff that came out before that, they were talking a lot about how most of the military action now in other countries is privatized. It's all separate corporations and companies that are run by the highest bidder and not necessarily by nations or anything like that. So it seems like to me that the villain in this game is going to be someone who has a whole lot of money and is going to organize a lot of these private corporations to work for him as his army, and he's just kind of going to go around taking over the place. That's just kind of what I got from it. It seemed like he's going to kind of want to be like a dictator or some sort of situation like that. Looks pretty cool. Kevin Spacey's always awesome, so that's going to be really good. I was glad to see, he's a big video game fan too, so I was glad to see him get in that. Other things that we saw in the trailer, there were hover planes. It looks a lot like the kind of kill streaks from Black Ops 2, the quad rotors that we had in that. They were on a lot larger scale, and most of the stuff, it is called Advanced Warfare, so I'm guessing this is set in the pretty much the present or near future, with a little bit of an edge taken to put in higher tech than we are currently using now. There's a lot of really big gunships and tanks and everything that are shooting not just shells, but looks like maybe some sort of pulse or plasma of some sort. looks really cool. And as far as all that, I'm guessing that that's going to stay single player mostly. They don't usually add a whole lot of extra stuff like that into the multiplayer, but you never know. They might take some wild step and add a tank in there or something. I'm guessing that most of that's going to stay single player, and then maybe they might add like something smaller version of it into the multiplayer as a kill streak. Some other things that we saw, and I don't know if this has to do with that first mech suit that we saw. I think this is separate. I think this was something that had nothing to do with that first suit that we saw. We saw a guy go invisible, like cloak, into this kind of really neat deal. It looks kind of like you'd see on Halo or something like that, where you can just kind of turn invisible, and then it reminds me a lot of I forgot the name of the game, but you can cloak in the game that I'm thinking of. It's the one that's got the unbelievable graphics, and I don't know, forget it. I'm stupid. Another thing that we saw was the a heat or infrared sensor, and this looks like something straight out of Killzone from the latest one, where it kind of sends this pulse across everything that you can see. Everything turned orange or red, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the people would stand out, and they were in that same kind of orangey red lines. You could see them through walls and stuff. That reminded me a lot of the latest Killzone on PS4. After that, there was a few more things. There was a big mech suit, much like Titanfall, kind of the opposite of what we saw in the first one. Looked a lot slower, had this huge kind of minigun attached to his arm. Looked like that might have been his only weapon there, but looked a lot slower, a lot more armor filled, and a lot more firepower as well, but you're probably going to sacrifice your speed and maneuverability. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we saw those two options as kill streaks. You know, we have the Maniac Juggernaut now, and then the regular Juggernaut where you're slower. Maybe that's how we get these suits in the multiplayer. It might not be something you have the entire game. It might be something that you earn. You can earn your smaller mech suit that lets you jump really high and climb walls, or you can pick and have your slower big time mech suit where you have your railgun. Other things that we saw in the trailer, there were some really awesome looking gloves where this guy puts it on and then can climb straight up the wall. We've seen stuff like this before in other Call of Duties and in a whole lot of different movies and things like that. I'm guessing that's probably more of a single player item. I really wish they would add stuff like that, but when you start adding things like that into Call of Duty, you'll see a lot of people start exploiting that, and that's what I loved about Titanfall. They had the wall running, they had the double jumps, they had all that kind of stuff where you could really go anywhere on the map, but they made the maps to the point where I didn't ever feel like that was getting exploited. You can really, if one guy can get to that part of the map, any guy could. So there wasn't really a way to get somewhere that was overpowered. And so I'm hoping that they will take that into account into the new Call of Duty, because one of the main problems that I've seen with Ghosts myself is the maps are just not very good, or at least I don't feel like they are. And that's been one of the strengths of Call of Duty in the past, is the maps have been really good. So hopefully they'll take that into account with the new stuff, if this stuff is even in the game. Other things that were in there, we saw hover bikes, which looked awesome. Little ATVs or four-wheelers that didn't have wheels. You could just kind of fly them anywhere. That looked really cool. Again, I'm guessing that's probably going to be one mission out of the game where you ride those in the single player, and you'll probably never see them again. They look really cool, but that's just kind of how that stuff works. Another really cool scene from the trailer that I saw was this guy had this like almost a little bigger than a briefcase, this big metal box, and he just kind of chunked it out into the air, and it like opened up and turned into this little helicopter type thing. I would be very surprised if that was not a kill streak. I'm expecting that to be kind of a Guardian drone that you kind of chunk up in the air and then it kind of follows you around like we have now. We've had those in the past few Call of Duties in different entities, and I'm expecting that to be a kill streak that we see in the multiplayer throughout the game. Of course, the game comes out on November 4th of 2014. That's pretty steady. That happens just about every year. It's always in November, give or take a couple days. So I can't wait. I would love to hear what you guys think of the trailer and of the game. Are you guys all just sick of Call of Duty like you hear most people saying? Because that's like almost all I hear. Oh, Call of Duty sucks, Call of Duty sucks, and then it sells a million bazillion copies, and I play it until my eyes bleed, and I love it. So That's how I feel. I'm excited, but I always get excited. I'm an easy mark on Call of Duty. I'll probably keep buying them, you know, no matter what they do. So I'm really excited. I want to hear what you guys think. Let me know what you think, and get back to me. Leave it in the comments section, and that's it. Thanks for watching, guys.